Good morning, Year 4. Hope you're all doing well on this fine Tuesday morning. So let's get straight into maths, where we're going to be continuing our work on decimals. So a WALT for today is count in hundredths. Now I apologize, at the top of each slide, you can see I've made a spelling mistake. It says count in hundredths. That is just a typing error, but I didn't want to waste paper by printing 30 more sheets out. So counting in hundredths. So to start with, we have our do now, where I would like you to complete the following sequences. So we'll do the first one together. So in this case, we have a sequence that is going up or down? It's going 78, 80, 82, blank, 86. So that's going up in twos. So I can tell that this one's going to be 82 plus 2 is 4. 86 plus 2 is 88. So all you've got to do is complete the remaining 4 sequences. So pause the video now. Off you go. So hopefully that's given you a chance to complete those 5 sequences. Grab a different color pen or pencil, and let's have a look at the answers. There we go. So again, pause the video if you need a bit of time to mark those, and we'll move on. So today our WALT is count in hundredths. So our star words for today are as such. Repeat after me. Increasing, hundredths, difference, decreasing. Excellent. And here you can actually see I've spelled hundredths correctly. Very well done me. So before we get into today's work, we are firstly going to do a little review of what we did yesterday, which was ordering decimals with hundredths. So here you can see 3 numbers. Can you please pause the video and order these numbers from largest to smallest? So descending order. Off you go. Right, guys, let's have a look. So remember, from largest to smallest. So we look at the largest place value, which is the same in these, with the hundreds. Then the tens, which again are the same. Then the ones, and that's where they start to differ. And finally the tenths, and then the hundredths. So today we're going to be looking at counting in hundredths. So let's start off with what we do when we're looking at sequences, which is what we're effectively doing today. So the first question you've got to ask yourself, we've got quite a simple sequence here at the top. The first question you've got to ask yourself is the sequence increasing or decreasing? So 2 of our star words there. Increasing means that the sequence is going up. Decreasing means that the sequence is going down. So I'll look at this one. 1.11, 1.12, 1.13. So I can say that this sequence is increasing. So I'll just put a plus there. Now, how do I know that it's increasing? Well, the reason I know is that in this case, the ones, the highest place value, which is the ones, are staying the same. The tenths are staying the same. But the next highest place value, which is the hundredths, are going up. So I can tell that it's increasing because the hundredths are going up whilst everything else is staying the same. Then what are the next 3 numbers? So in order to do that, I need to find out how much this sequence is increasing each time. Or the number jumps. What number jump is it making each time? Well, I can see it's not going up in ones because the ones are staying the same. It's not going up in tenths because the tenths are staying the same. It's going up in 100ths because it's going 1, then 2, then 3. And it's only going up by 100th each time. So that means it's going up in 0, 0 ones, then 0 tenths, and 1/100th. 0 ones, 0 tenths, and 1/100th. And then from there, what are the next three numbers? So I then know that the next number jump is going to go up by 0.01. So that means it's going to go 1.14. Once again, it's going up only by 1/100th. So the 4 will turn into a 5. And then 1.16. And then what will happen after 1.9? Well, if we add one more hundredth onto 1.9, at the moment, although you can't see it, it's got 0 hundredths. That's going to become 1.91, like that. So that's just a very simple example of what we're going to be doing today, and a bit of a review on sequences. And we're going to be looking at our steps to success in the next slide with this example here. So here we have another sequence. It's going 1.45, 1.44, 1.43. Now step 1 is find two numbers that are next to each other. So in this case, we have two different options. We can either look at these two numbers, which are next to each other, or these two numbers, which are next to each other. So I'll go nice and simple. I'll just go with the first two. So these two numbers next to each other. Step 2. Are the numbers increasing, so going up, or decreasing, going down? Well, I know that the ones are staying the same each time. I can see that the tenths are staying the same each time. But look at the hundredths. The hundredths are going 5, 4, 3. So I can tell that this is decreasing. So I can say that that's going to be going minus. Step 3, calculate the difference between the two numbers next to each other. So what I mean by difference is, what number jump is it making to get from 1.45 to 1.44? Well, in order to get from 1.45 to 1.44, that is going to be 1 of the hundredths. So 0 ones, because it's not going down in ones, it's not going down in tenths, but it is going down from 5 to 4 hundredths. So it's going down by 0.01 each time. So I've now worked out that it's decreasing, and I've worked out the number jumps that are going, that it's making each time as well, the difference between them. And then I need to, well, I don't need to add because it's not an increasing sequence, it's a decreasing one. Subtract the difference to find the numbers. So that means I need to subtract 0.01 again. So from 0.45, 0.44, 0.43, 1.42, and finally 1.41. And always worth checking to make sure that it makes sense. 1.45, 44, 43, 42, 41. Excellent. So we have now got the missing numbers and completed our steps to success. And I apologize, I can see that there are 2 step 3s again. Not been a great day for my formatting skills. So let's look at this next one. Again, I'll do this one first, and you'll have a chance to practice this later on. So with this one, I can see that the first two numbers are no longer together. There's a gap between it. So I need to find two numbers next to each other, which in this case, only one option. This number and this number are next to each other. Step 2, are the numbers increasing, so going up, or decreasing, going down? Well, 1.57, 1.56, so that sequence is definitely decreasing, going down. So I'm going to put and do a minus. Calculate the difference between the two numbers. So 1.57, 1.56. As you can see, neither the ones nor the tenths are changing. It's only the hundredths that are changing. How many hundredths is it going down by each time? 57 to 56, it's going down by 1/100th. So 0 ones, 0 tenths, 1/100th. Now that I've calculated the number jump, add and subtract that difference, which is 0.01. So I need to subtract that to find the missing number. So in order to get this one here, I need to subtract 0.01. So 1.57, 1.56, 1.55. And then we need to do the same from this one here. Subtract 0.01. What's that going to be? 1.58. And we can see that that works really, really nicely. So now let's do this one together. What's the first thing I've got to do? What's the first thing I've got to do? So I've got to find two numbers that are next to each other. That is the very first thing, really important, because we can't do that and that, 0.02 and the blank. So we need to find the two numbers that are next to each other. Can you tell me which two numbers are next to each other? Good, hopefully the 0.06 and 0.08. So we found those two numbers that are next to each other. Are the numbers increasing, going up, or decreasing, going down? What do you reckon? Hopefully we've seen that it is increasing. It is going up because 0.06 to 0.08, the numbers are going up. They are increasing. Step 3. Calculate the difference between the two numbers next to each other. So what's the number jump that we're seeing here? Can you pause the video and see if you can figure out what number jump it is making? How much is it going up by? We've already said that it's increasing. Can you pause the video and work out by how much? So hopefully you've seen it's not going up by ones, it's not going up by tenths, they're staying the same. It's going up by hundredths, from 600ths to 800ths, 0.02 hopefully we got. So I'm going to do this one here. So if I know that it's going up by 0.02 or 200ths each time, I know that that is going to be 0.04. Can you now work out what adding 200ths is going to do? What's going to be the final number in the sequence? Again, pause the video now. So we need to add 200ths to that. Now, what would you reckon if I did 0.0, well, I know that 2 more than 8 is 10, like that. What do we think of that? Because I've gone from 0.08 to 0.010. So we actually can't do that. The reason that we can do that is, unlike when we're before the decimal point, we've made this number smaller. Because here we have 8 hundredths, and we want to add 2 more hundredths. But now, how many is in the hundredths column? Only 1. So what we've done there is made the number significantly smaller. So the sequence is increasing, and then suddenly is decreasing. Because on this number we've got 8 hundredths, but on this number we've only got 1 hundredth. So what do we need to do in that case? Well, just like if we were adding before the decimal point, we're going to have to regroup. So it's going to remain 0. What do you reckon? What's going to happen once we get to 10 hundredths? Can we have 10 in one place value column? No, absolutely not. We know we can't. What happens? We then move it on to the next place value. So that will become 1 there. And if you want to put the 0 behind it, you can. So you can see on the first one, I've just got my place value wrong. I've forgotten to regroup it into that next column here. If you want to leave the 0 after it, you can. That's no problem, and do 0.10, or you can just do 0.1. Up to you. And then I can say step 4 is complete. Right, so task 1. In front of you, you have 5 different sequences, and you have the steps to success on your right. Can you please write these out? They're either on your sheet, or you can just write them out on a bit of paper in your books, and see if you can complete these sequences. If, however, you're still feeling a bit stuck by this, then that's absolutely fine, and I can go through one more with you now. So, if you're feeling happy and you can carry on with it, then pause the video. If you'd like a bit more help, we can go through one of those now. So, let's look at this first one. Find 2 numbers that are next to each other. So, choose 2 numbers for me that are next to one another. We can have 0.19 and 0.18, or you could also have 0.18 and 0.17 because they're next to each other. But I'm just going to choose the first 2. Read out, what's step 2 for me? What's step 2? Are the numbers increasing, going up, or going down? 0.19, 0.18, 0.17. So are they increasing or decreasing? Hold it in your head. 3, 2, 1. Decreasing. They're going down. Step 3. Calculate the difference between the 2 numbers next to each other. So we know the sequence is going down. Can you tell me, how many is it going down by? Pause the video now. So hopefully you'll see that the 1s are not changing, the 10s are not changing, it's just the hundredths that are changing. So from 9 to 8 to 7, they're going down by 1/100th each time, 0.01. So I've calculated the number jump, and now I need to add or subtract that on. So 0.01 taken away from that, 0.17 would be 0.16, 0.15, and then finally, what do you think the last one's going to be? 0.14. There we go. Excellent. So, hopefully that's helped you a little bit. Pause the video now if you haven't already, and can you go through the rest of these sequences here? Right, let's have a look at those answers. There we go. So pause the video and go through with a different coloured pen, please. And just give those a mark. Excellent. So, now I'd like you to pause the video again. And can you answer these questions? Now, I know they're going to seem quite straightforward. What are the answers to the following? But what I'd like you to think about, what do you notice about the 1s when 1 was added to these numbers? What did you notice about the 1s when 1 was added to the numbers? Okay, pause the video now and answer those questions. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to have a look at these. Now, I know these questions will seem really, really simple for you because they've been ingrained in your mind and you're really used to adding before the decimal point or where there's no decimal point at all. We know that 39 add 1 is not going to be 391. You can't just add 1 more over there. And it's not going to be 310. You can't add an extra 1 into the tens column because you can't have 2 numbers at the same place value. We know that you have to regroup. By adding that 1 on, the 1s is going to become a 0 again, but the value is going to become greater because you add 1 more to the tens. You've regrouped those 10 from the ones column into the tens column. Same thing here. So 49 plus 1. We're not going to say 4 in the tens column and 10 in the ones column. We can't do that. So what number do we make it? Of course, we make it 50. We need to regroup. And finally, 119 plus 1. We hopefully know that it is not going to be 100 and then 10 in the ones column, because you know that this number would be 1,110. Absolutely not right. We have to regroup these ones and move on to the next place value. So it would be 120. Now, exactly the same things applies with decimals. So let's have a look at this example here, and we'll go through that in a bit more detail. So in this sequence, we can see 10.97, 10.98, 10.99. So again, I'm going to follow my steps, find the two numbers that are next to each other. Again, there are two options, but I'll go for this first one here. 10.97 and 10.98. Step 2. Are the numbers increasing or going up, or decreasing, going down? Well, I can see 10, 9.97, 10.98, 10.99. These numbers are, of course, going up. They are increasing. What is the difference between the two numbers? Well, again, the tens column isn't changing. The ones column isn't changing. So far, the tenths column isn't changing, but the only one that is the hundredth. And I can see that it's going up from 7 to 8 to 9. So it's 1/100th, or 0.01. Now, final step. I need to add that difference to find the missing number. Only one missing number I need to find. So, taking on board what we said on the last slide when you were adding just 1 to an answer, 39 plus 1, 119 plus 1, we really need to take that knowledge and apply it here for decimals, where it may not be so obvious. So remember, we wouldn't, in this case, we know 10, it cannot be 10.100 like that. We know that it can't. We know that it can't work like that because we're going to have to regroup. Remember, you cannot have 10 of one value at that place value, can we? So we're going to have to regroup. So we've got 99 hundredths at the moment because we've got 9 tens, 9 hundredths, which is 99 hundredths altogether. What's going to happen when I get to 100 hundredths? Well, what we're going to have to do is regroup these 100 hundredths. Into the next column. So these hundredths here, when we add one more to it, is going to go from 9 to 10. So that's then going to reset back to 0. Then we're going to have to regroup this number, which has become a 10. And that's also going to reset back to 0. Which means that these 9 tenths, furthermore, have to regroup to be up before the decimal point into the ones. And it's going to go up from a 0 to a 1, and then the tens stay the same. So it goes 10.97, 10.98, 10.99, and then 11. So once we've reached 99 hundredths, we then have to regroup it into the next column. And don't worry if that seems a bit confusing to start with. We'll be practicing that with another example. So, what I'd like you to do now is I would like you to, we'll do, just checking how many examples I've got, we'll do this one together and then I'll let you do the last one by yourself. So once again, find two numbers next to each other. I'll go for these two there. Are the numbers increasing or decreasing? Well, we know what those words mean now. We've used them enough. 9.97, 9.98, 9.99. We can definitely tell that they are increasing. What is the difference between those two numbers? Well, I can tell that it's 1/100th because the ones and the tenths are staying the same. So again, it's 0.01. And then finally, add or subtract the difference to find the missing number. Well, nice and straightforward, because I know the 9 is going to stay the same. The tenths are going to stay the same. And then this 9, we're adding one more 100th, so that's just going to go from a 9 to a 10. Again, hopefully lots of you calling out at your screens here. What is the mistake that I have made? I have put 10 100ths in the same place value, and I cannot do that. The maximum we can have in one place value is 9, just like before the decimal point. So I'm going to have to regroup this 10 to the tenths. But of course, then we can't have 10 tenths, so we're going to have to regroup again into the ones. So the correct answer should be 10.00 or just 10. Because if we've got nothing behind the decimal point, we don't actually need to write that. We can just write the number 10. So 9.97, 9.98, 9.99, 10. So just to practice that regrouping after the decimal point, I've got another example here. So pause the video and see if you can do this one yourselves. Off you go. So let's see how you got on. So again, just going to quickly whiz through these steps because I think we've really got them. We're going to find two numbers next to each other. Are they increasing or decreasing? They are increasing. We can see that the hundredths are going up each time and nothing else. What's the difference between them? These two numbers. What's the number jump that they're making? We can find that by counting on. 98 to 99. It's 100th, so 0.01. And then finally, we need to add that 0.01, that difference. Now, pause the video now. Can you work out what this final number is going to be if we're adding 1/100th to 109.99? Off you go. So hopefully you have realized that because there are going to be 10 in this column, we need to then regroup. So the hundredths are going to become a 0. And then we're adding one more into this column here, into the tenths. But that means we've then got 10 tenths, which we can't have. So that's going to have to reset to 0, and we regroup into the ones, which is then going to have 10 ones. And as we know, we cannot have 10 ones, so that's going to have to regroup, going to 0, and adding an extra 1 into the tens. So we've done 3 sets of regrouping there, turning that into a 1, and then the hundreds stay the same. So hopefully you got the answer is 110. You can, as I say, put the 0.00, but actually you don't need to, it's just 110. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to have a little read of this question. What do you think? Matthew thinks he has completed this sequence correctly. Do you agree? Why or why not? So pause the video now. What do you reckon? So hopefully you've had a chance to look at this, and you can see that we do not agree with him because he's completed the sequence incorrectly. He thinks that he's added one more 100th to 99 hundredths, which gets you 100. But of course, what he's done is made the number smaller, because he did have 9 tenths in there, Now he's only got 1/10. He did have 9 hundredths in here. Now he's got 0 hundredths. So on both points, the number has decreased in a sequence that's otherwise increasing. This final number should have been 89. 0.00 you could put, but I'm just going to put 89 because we don't need that decimal place. Because if we add one more hundredth, we've got to regroup it all on to 89. So now is your chance to practice. Oh my word, I've made a third mistake here. 6, 7, 7, 8. It should be 6, 7, 8, 9. As hopefully you are fully aware. So your steps to success are on the right. Can you complete these sequences, which I can tell you are going to involve some regrouping on most of them? Okay, so pause the video now. Off you go. So let's have a look at those answers now. So if you want to grab a different piece of paper, that's absolutely, not a different piece of paper, different pen or pencil, just to mark these ones here. So hopefully this is similar to what you got. And just remember as well with this one here, if you put 100.60, that is still correct. Just no need really to add that extra 0. And then finally, for your reasoning, you have got these ones here looking at the number line and these coins here. Can you pause the video now? See if you can solve some of this tricky reasoning. And again, we'll go through the answers in a moment. Excellent stuff, guys. So let's see if you got these right. So here are the answers here. So Sally is incorrect, although she's realized that it should be 2.5 after the decimal point. She's forgotten to change the 1, so it should be 1.25. And then what you could have had is 1 0.1 coin and 12 of these green 0.01 coins would have made 0.24. Oh, sorry. It should have been 14 of those. I thought that didn't look right. There should have been 14 of those coins. My apologies. And your final one, for those of you that are fancying a bit of a challenge, can you fill in the gaps here to find the missing numbers? Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I know the numbers do appear a bit blurry. So we've got 0.15, 0.35, 0.17, and 0.22. So you've got to complete these sequences. So let's do the first one together. Remember, same steps to success. Can you see two numbers that are together? Yes, we can. 0.15 and 0.17. Hopefully we can tell that that's increasing by 0.2. So this one would be 0.19. And then you can use that information to look at the next ones. So I'd be really impressed if anyone managed to finish these. So pause the video now. Can you have a good go at the challenge? Right, and let's have a look at the answers. There we go. Again, I'd be really impressed if you managed to finish this last challenge in particular. Right, guys, really, really excellent work today. I know that that's really quite tricky to get your head around, especially the regrouping of the hundredths and the tenths. Can get a little bit tricky, but really, really great effort today, and I look forward to seeing all your work on Seesaw. Thank you so much. Goodbye.